Spring is coming, and with it, some more photography tips. Howdy y'all, hope you're doing well with the rising temperatures, and in this video we're going to be covering some more photography tips on what to do during springtime. So let's dive right in. So the first thing that we can think of course, blooming flowers, trees, and so on. Early spring usually features fresh green buds on trees, and then gradually different starts of flowers starts to bloom and come out of the ground. Now when it comes to flowers, the first ones to emerge in early spring are snowdrops and winter aconites. The great thing about shooting these is that they're often still partly covered in snow or surrounded by autumn leaves. And this is great because it creates a very cool contrast between the formerly cold winter and then the upcoming warm spring, and highlighting the awakening of nature. Then of course there are plenty of other flowers that start to bloom later in spring. And some other ones of early spring typically brings up things like daffodils, tulips, crocuses, and scillas. And then later even lilacs, magnolias, and all other kinds of trees follow. Now flower photos are in themselves pretty because the flower itself is quite pretty. So just to mix things up, it might be a good idea to introduce some other components to it just to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's check out some examples of how we can do just that. So these are nice little photos of scillas, both 1 and 2, and the depth of field is used here, and the flowers are beautifully sharp and in focus, but it can be a lot better. For example, these scillas growing by the wire mesh, not only is the light being played with here, but also adding more color to the shot where the wire mesh and scillas come in contact, create a very interesting contrast, both in terms of softness and hardness, and then also freedom versus confinement. So it's not just a typical flower photo. And then here, the sunlight beautifully illuminates the flowers as well as leaves. And then here you also got some water droplets on the leaves themselves. And that brings me to another tip, which is flowers or leaves with raindrops or dew on them. Now raindrops or dew give flowers and leaves a sort of fresh feeling effect. And to make them more interesting, we can add extra texture to the shot. Plus, they often reflect light or colors from the surroundings quite interestingly. By the way, if you like to photograph flowers or leaves, things like that after the rain, and it just won't rain for some reason, you can take some with you. So these examples are indoors, but you can use the spray bottle outside as well. You can simulate raindrops or dew just to make your flower photos more interesting. And if you're interested in different tips about how to shoot in the rain or after some rainfall, let us know in the comments below, so we might do a video about that as well. But let's move back into some more tips. All right, in the springtime, there's also things known as insects. And insects like bees, bumblebees, butterflies start pollinating flowers, and the whole circle of life starts moving. And that also ties into birds that might be returning from their winter vacations in warmer countries. And also, don't forget about the plethora of other possible animal babies that are born in the springtime. Another one you can't forget about is landscapes. As everything starts to turn green and bloom, this invites landscape panoramas. Just please avoid plain greens, try to work with lines and use alleys of blooming trees, blooming fields, opening buds, and remember that golden hour, which is going to give photos that lovely golden hue. Another good example for this is to visit some, for example, almond or apple orchards where things start blooming, and you'll have plenty of things there for inspiration to photograph. Now, blooming trees also bring another tip, which is portraits. Spring is a warmer time, so it might be a good idea to head out with a model and do some kind of photo shoot, say by a blooming lilac, magnolia, or maybe under a cherry sakura tree. And since the 1st of May is the time of love, don't forget about spring couple shots, whether that's by blooming trees or pretty much anywhere else. And the last tip is going to be some reportage photography, because we got lots of festivals coming up, and one of them could be, for example, Easter, which is an essential part of spring, and it practically begs to be photographed. So try photographing kids, say decorating Easter eggs or doing their Easter egg hunt, and things like that. So those are some tips on what to do during the new season, which is spring, and how the world is waking up And don't forget to let us know some comments below. We love reading it and making videos based off of that. Don't forget to give us a like, hit the subscribe bell so you never miss another video, and we look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Till then, take care and happy spring.